Hey everybody, welcome to Game Day View. Patrick Claybon here with Cynthia Freeland. We are in missing man formation because Greg Rosenthal is still in Europe. He's in London for Vikings Browns, but we remain, and we're going to give the picks to everybody without Greg because we can still do this.
Yeah, I mean, he's out there just living the life, the international traveler. He's just everywhere, and we'll be waiting right here in this little old room, just waiting for Greg to come back. You know.
That's our main job here is to wait for Greg. But don't sweat, just Greg Nation. We'll have all of his game picks coming up. But right now, let's update you on our picks contest that we do here on Game Day View. And you might notice a little bit of a change. I'm going to wear that crown because all it takes is draining all joy from your existence and picking the Kansas City Chiefs to beat Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens. And so I have improved to 39-24. And yes, we have confetti. I have a crown and an actual robe, which says how confident everybody is that I can remain at the top of this picks contest. But yes, I will celebrate this. And yeah, no rulers. We're you know, ultimately we're best as a team. And when we share.
The confetti cannon had stars in it. I think it's a special sign. Usually we don't get stars in our confetti cannon.
They're stars.
You're a star.
The stars represent the points scored against the Dallas Cowboys defense. I might be the current picks leader, but the Eagles are the real champs, and they busted out a little creativity last week.
Barkley is back in the game. They're going to touch push. Hurts, fakes.
Thanks so.
He's going to run.
I don't think so.
And he's going to score. It's Barkley.
They fake the tush push. They give it to Barkley.
And he's in for a touchdown.
Around the outside on the left, and he goes in.
Yes, he does.
Unscathed.
So the 4-0 Eagles, who are completely happy and drama-free, play host to the Denver Broncos. Denver put a beat down on the Bengals Monday night. Greg Rosenthal is taking the Broncos to beat the Eagles here. More on that later. What do you think happens?
I was going to say, we're just going to gloss over that.
Yeah.
But hey, you know,
He's not here to defend it.
Fair enough. I have the Eagles winning, but just by 1 point, 22-21. I want to talk about that faux tush push and the actual tush push because the run game is a source of an advantage. Now, I don't think passing against this Broncos defense is the best opportunity, but not only are you seeing this tush push have a high level of efficiency and efficacy, but you're also seeing when they bluff, which I don't know if you've heard this yet because we just talk about it on every single freaking show that we're on together, but ultimately, I think that teams should be using bluffs more often. Offensive coordinators need to go find a poker player to learn how to be an exceptional bluffer because this is where you have a huge advantage, especially against a defense like the Broncos who are so good in the pass rush. They're so good at generating sacks. They're so good at having Pat Surtain shut down your number one wide receiver. So those small edges are massive deals.
Yeah, got to make plays based off of the thing that you're very, very good at. And also the coach on the other sideline is a passionate defender of the Eagles' right to run the play that they're very good at. Sean Payton on record that. But I've also got a close Birds win, 25-22. I think the offense will be dealing with the pressure. And I understand that the Broncos defense can provide a lot of pressure. But the number one quick pressure team in the entire NFL was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, a team that the Eagles had a lot of success in the first half against last week. The real difference was on defense against the Bucs. Quinyon Mitchell allowed just 2 receptions on 9 targets last week. The Bucs lost 5.7 EPA when targeting Quinyon Mitchell last week. So non-Sutton Broncos might have to make a play or two in this one.
Troy Franklin.
Yeah, come on, Troy. Come on, Evan Ingram. We enjoyed spending time with in the preseason with the Denver Broncos. But folks, if you want to talk about the Broncos, Greg is taking them. It could be just a little bit of a make good with Nick Bonito because Greg saw Jake Browning have a lot of trouble with the Vikings defense. And he sent out this tweet, you know, just picking up the Vikings for what they did, noting the Broncos were next on the schedule. Said the Vikings defense is so good, Jake Browning will be relieved to face the Broncos. And after chasing Jake Browning up and down the field, Nick Bonito immediately went to social media website, twitter.com, to unleash some crying, laughing emojis. Fun stuff. It's time for Who's Eating Good, presented by Applebee's. Cynthia, Bo Nix lit up the Bengals Monday night for 326 passing yards, more or less than 216 against the Eagles.
Okay, I think that he has 242, which is significantly more than 216 passing yards. I'm looking at his opportunity, just like you talked about, to target specific defenders with specific body type mismatches. You know Sean Payton loves those big body receivers, and some of their defensive backs aren't quite the biggest guys out there.
The Broncos sitting at 2-2 right now. Their rival Chiefs have the same record, and they looked pretty good last week.
They load the left side. Mahomes goes left. Threads the middle. Touchdown!
And when you're playing one of the better teams in the NFL, you know you're going to have to be a little bit more aggressive.
Rolling left side. Dumps it. Pacheco at the 5. Angling near side. Touchdown!
I thought we executed at a high level in crucial situations.
Between the 1 and the 5. Down the rail to the end zone. A third touchdown pass by Mahomes.
We had a good game plan going in, and we knew we had to raise our game.
And now Mahomes throws for the end zone. Caught. Mahomes has 4 TD passes into the land of the sweet nectar.
Chiefs and Jags down in Duval. Jacksonville is 3-1 on the season, but Greg is rolling with KC. Which way are you leaning, Cynthia?
You tell Greg to keep his name out of my name out of his mouth. Oh, I messed it up. Anyway, I have Kansas City winning this, but only by 2 points, 23-21 in this matchup. Why? Because of Xavier Worthy's return. The difference for Patrick Mahomes between when he's on the field versus when he's off. And I don't even want to say in the pass catching game. I'm talking about yards per play in general. It's like over a yard different per play. That's massive. The gadget plays are back. The trick plays are back. Juju Smith-Schuster gets to do that dance that I'm not even sure what it is. I'm not cool enough to know what the dance is anymore, but I am smart enough to know that when number 1 is on the field, things change for the entire offense. The opportunity to rush out of the shotgun. All of these things that are small advantages which do matter against a team that leads the league in takeaways. That's a huge deal.
You're reminding me of the dark period in our nation's timeline when the biggest issue was Juju Smith-Schuster's relationship with TikTok. How far we've come since then. And I know
Wait,
I was able to...
I actually would rather our biggest issue be Juju.
Yeah, it was a fun memory. And I know I was able to get this crown based off of taking the Kansas City Chiefs to win, but I've seen what it's like on that side, and I don't want to be there any longer. I've got the Jacksonville Jaguars in Duval. Shout out to Liam Curl, 26-21, because
Never gets old.
Yeah, one of these teams can run the ball consistently, and I know Kansas City had a lot of success against one of the worst defenses in the NFL, not so quietly last week. Travis Etienne's leading the entire NFL in yards per carry, second in the league in rushing yards. Cynthia, do you know who has the best yards per carry season in Jags history among qualifiers?
Maurice Jones-Drew.
It's our coworker and friend, Maurice Jones-Drew.
I was just guessing. I thought you were going to say it was Travis Etienne.
No, it's not Travis Etienne, but if he's on pace to do so. It's 4 games. But if you're matching our guy MJD, then yeah, I'm going to take the Jacksonville Jaguars. For our next matchup, let's head across the Atlantic Ocean to London.
Welcome to London, England. If all you're wearing a man in front of you, 6 feet of the police. Touchdown!
Never been that open for a minute.
The kick is blocked. Wow! This is why sports are the absolute best thing going. London's calling with a highlight.
Snooze off, game on. Sunday morning football continues in London, presented by NetApp. Justin Jefferson and the Vikings versus Myles Garrett and the Browns, Sunday 9:30 a.m. Eastern, only on NFL Network. Also streaming with NFL Plus. Subscription required for NFL Plus. Visit plus.nfl.com for terms. Let's talk some more about this matchup. The Vikings coming off of a loss to the Steelers in Ireland, while the Browns have decided they're starting rookie Dylan Gabriel at quarterback. Greg is there for the game, so let's send it to him for more.
What's up, guys? I am here in London doing the best that I can, kind of like Carson Wentz and Dylan Gabriel are going to do on Sunday. These defenses are going to dominate in this Vikings-Browns matchup. It's the lowest over-under of any game all year. I ultimately like the Vikings to win 17-16. You can call it nasty. I call it defensive. Both of these defensive lines are awesome. Sacks, turnovers, and maybe a late defensive score for the Vikings. They're the better organization. They get the win. I cannot wait to see you guys next week.
Yeah, we can't wait to see you, Greg, without all of the things going on.
Was a baby's diaper being changed?
Hey, you know, sometimes when it's time, it's time. Greg has the Vikings by 1. How about you, Cynthia?
I have the Vikings by 6, 22 to 16. I really think that one was changing a baby's diaper behind him. But anyways, I'm looking at this one and I'm talking about Justin Jefferson. The difference between Justin Jefferson with Jordan Addison there was massive. So much space to work with, so many opportunities. Both guys had over 100 yards. It was a nice way to see the sort of return of the passing offense. Now, I understand it didn't result in a win, but one area where they do match up well, the Browns play a lot of man defense, and they've actually given up the most touchdowns in man, 7, in the entire NFL. And Justin Jefferson, he figures to make well on that, right? Do a good job against it.
Yeah, I've got the Vikings by a bit more, 23 to 12.
To 12.
Yeah, because our chances to talk Browns are kind of limited. Let's discuss Harold Fanning Jr., the all-time single-season record holder in college football history for receptions by a tight end, is oddly enough getting a lot of opportunities to catch passes for the Cleveland Browns. And last week against the Lions, he slowed that down a bit, as you know, Kirby and Brian Branch do tend to cause problems for other tight ends. If the Browns make it to 12 points, I think there's a lot of 44 getting action. But yes, meme us away. We are all taking the Minnesota Vikings to win in London. We're just getting started here on Game Day View. Coming up, are Sam Darnold and the Seahawks the real deal? Are they authentic? We're about to find out, because they got a huge matchup with Baker and the Bucs, a battle of 3-1 teams. One of us, not me and just Cynthia, Greg as well, one of us really disagrees on how this one's going to go. We'll tell you who coming up next on Game Day View.
What's up? The handoff, Walker, he breaks a tackle, coming to the near side.
I never know what to do in those situations where the bat comes back around. I'm like, because you want to like help your teammate.
Sam rolls out near side, throw is made! Touchdown! Seahawks!
Good job. Keep rolling. Keep going. Let's go. You sicko. That's what I'm talking about, bro.
I'm going to be honest, Sam, it looked like you didn't know what to do when the bat came back around. Time for Seize the Season, presented by Caesars Sportsbook, as we get a look at the first touchdown scorer odds. According to our friends at Caesars, Kenneth Walker, Rashad White, Zach Charbonnet, Jackson Smith, and Jigba and Emeka Egbuka, with Kenneth Walker leading the way in a fun matchup between two good teams, the Bucs and the Seahawks, up in Seattle. Both teams 3-1. Both teams led by former Panthers quarterbacks during the Matt Rule era that we don't like to talk about that much. Greg's going with the Seahawks. How do you feel about this one, Cynthia?
Well, maybe you're the person, the voice of dissent, because I too am going with the Seahawks, 23-21 in this matchup. Now I'm very confused what you're going to say. But one of the things, I know, I kind of can't wait. One of the things that I really like about Seattle's defense is their ability to get pressure with only rushing 4 guys. It's a huge advantage, especially when the injury report looks like theirs does, with some of their defensive backs showing up on it. It allows you to drop back into coverage with some of your linebacker level players. So it really lessens the blow that could happen if you're having to leverage the blitz in order to get pressure on opposing quarterbacks. So I think this team is very much for real. I think this defense is extra special for real. In fact, it's right up there. I just think we need to do a better job. It's like a branding exercise, right? We need to it needs a better, like a catchier name, just like the Seahawks defense. Meh. You can't call it the Legion of Boom 2 or something, but everything is like a remake these days. So Legion of Boom 2? I don't know.
Yeah, like the SeaTac exporters or something.
Ooh, yeah, there you go.
The voice of dissent is Greg Rosenthal.
No tariffs here. Blah.
Greg Rosenthal has his 13-point game. I've got a 1-point game. Cynthia has a 2-point game. In this one, I have Seattle winning at home. Where the home-road splits are just weird for the Seattle Seahawks. I don't think that that's anything we should consistently buy into. It's one of those just odd happenstance of numbers.
Turns out it matters who you play in locations,
when you play certain teams, like certain teams in your division, they're good. But I am buying Sam Darnold. He's completing north of 60% of his downfield passes, matching a trend from last year with Minnesota. When he's clean, he's averaging 10 yards per completion, which is a stat that Cynthia just actually remembered, and I had to look up and was sweating to get those numbers out. So it wasn't just Kevin O'Connell. Sam loves the deep ball. But being honest, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are very hurt. This is a very long trip, and they've got a lot to deal with. It's an accomplishment for them to be 3-1 with the injuries that they've had. Seize the Season, brought to you by Caesars Sportsbook. New users can bet $1 to boost their next 20 bets by 100%. Must be 21 or older. See Caesars.com/promos in order to get the full terms. Good news for the Washington Commanders. Their star quarterback, Jaden Daniels, has been cleared by doctors and was a full participant in practice this week. Daniels missed the last 2 games with a knee injury. During his absence, Washington was able to go 1-1. Jaden's got Justin Herbert and the Chargers Sunday. The Bolts coming off of their first loss of the season. Terry McLaurin going to miss this game. Which way are you leaning, Cynthia?
I'm leaning towards the home team winning, but by a pretty narrow margin, just 2 points. I have 24-22 in this matchup. But I'm looking at what's going on with their rookie running back, especially considering what's going on with the Chargers O-line. With both tackles now not playing, so Rashawn Slater before the season and then now Joe Alt, it's going to be extra special important for the run game to be efficient so that Justin Herbert can stay as efficient as he has been. With a lot of pressure last week, that was what happened with the Giants. They were pressuring him at 47%, 48% clip. That is very hard for anyone to sustain, whereas Omarion Hampton's coming on. He's shouldering some of these blocks. He's helping in all of the schemes. This kid's doing great. He's also finding his way into the end zone, so fantasy managers, they're pretty happy too. But I'm talking about the real football part of it, which is help the O-line, the backup O-lineman out and keep your quarterback out of harm's way. 2-point win, home team.
Yeah, it was a lot of Justin Herbert having to deal with Thibodeau and Abdul Carter in that matchup where you worry about the Bolts. I was worried. I initially had the Washington Commanders winning this game, but then I saw that video of the leg brace on Jaden Daniels in practice, and then I saw a little bit of Jaden Daniels in the pregame newser on Thursday saying, "We'll see on Sunday." So go ahead and switch my pick around. I'm actually taking the Chargers. Yeah. Oh no, we've already got it switched. It's a meme alert. Yes, I'm taking the Chargers here because the whole pregame "we'll see on Sunday," like how do you feel thing, I'm a little bit out on that. But celebrating, why not? The Washington Commanders run game, because it's very good. It's the actual reason I initially picked them in this game. They're averaging 5.9 yards per carry. They've run for the second most yards in the league this season. And a lot of that comes with their backup quarterback playing in Marcus Mariota, who played very well. I think it's a tough task to ask half of Jaden Daniels, perhaps. We'll see on Sunday. Either way, the confidence was not inspired. So I was not able to inspire an upset pick on the road in SoFi Stadium on Sunday. When we come back, Josh Allen and the Bills are rolling. They've raced out to a 4-0 start, but do they need to be on upset alert Sunday night when Drake May and the Patriots come to town? Find out if any of us are bold enough to pick New England in this one. You're watching Game Day View.
Play clock down to 4 on 1st and 10 from the 28. Takes the snap, fakes the throw to the flat, looks down the sideline. He's got Kincaid, who's going to walk it in for a 23-yard touchdown. Oh, they got the Saints biting on that one, and it's easy peasy lemon squeezy.
Get that citrus on Sunday night. The Patriots and the undefeated Bills. New England destroyed the Panthers last week. Despite his Patriots fandom, Greg has the Bills winning here. What are your thoughts, Cynthia?
Oh, Greg, he's a little traitor to the Patriots. Well, I have Buffalo winning 30-22, an 8-point victory because I believe that the Bills offense will control the ball with James Cook and also Josh Allen. But I'm looking at James Cook here specifically because I want to compliment this O-line. Not only are they great to their quarterback, allowing him the least pressure rate, the lowest pressure rate in the league, but they're also great run blocking for James Cook, which is why you see him get in the end zone so often. The play calling works really well with both of their skill sets, the run game, the short passing game. What this dynamic back can do is going to be a hard task, even for the Patriots front, which has played very well. You're seeing Josh Allen leverage these short passes and rely on Yak. A lot of that is because that's the way that they're confusing all of the different defenders. I think that's a huge advantage. I think James Cook also sees the end zone.
Yeah, the ability to get that yards after catch is a big part of this Bills offense, and another big part of being able to do that is having playmakers that can do it. And Khalil Shakir is one of the best ones going on the outside when they need plays in the short passing game. He's the one. It's been 2 weeks since Josh Allen has thrown a pass to Khalil Shakir that didn't result in yards. And last week's big play that you're seeing right here tacked on an additional 42 yards after catch over expectation. If only the Bills defense could make some similar plays, which is why we all three have a lot of points in this one. But meme us away, we have all taken the Buffalo Bills, thanks to you spectacular children. Get pumped because the NFL heads to England for the next 3 weeks. Snooze off, game on. Sunday morning football continues in London, presented by NetApp. This week, it's Justin Jefferson and the Vikings versus Myles Garrett and the Browns. Sunday, 9:30 a.m. Eastern, only on NFL Network. Also streaming with NFL Plus. Subscription required for NFL Plus. Visit plus.nfl.com for terms. It's time for More or Less. Let's discuss some player props for this week's Vikings-Browns game in London. First one going to you, Cynthia. Carson Wentz, more or less than 208 passing yards.
208 passing yards. I have fewer than that, less than that. Not because I don't think the Vikings are to win. We already talked about who we have the winner being. But I think that the smart play here will be to keep Carson Wentz out of harm's way. So perhaps slowing down the pace. I know this is not a defense that you can target in the run game at all. They are the best run defense in the league. In fact, they're the best total defense in the league. So being smart about playing slow, taking time off the clock, maybe committing to the run, even if it doesn't give you a ton of yards per carry, that will be the way to do it.
All right, let's go over to the other side. Dillon Gabriel makes his first career start against the Minnesota Vikings defense. Will he throw one touchdown? Yes, I think he actually will. Dillon Gabriel with an opportunity came in and looked pretty good in the preseason in spots. He gets a chance to throw, being left-handed, perhaps to sneak up and surprise the Minnesota Vikings. You know, it's not often you get a chance to play against a left-handed quarterback. I, again, don't necessarily think the game is going to be that close. But, hey, I think Dillon Gabriel gets a chance to put one into the scoring region. Next one for you, Cynthia. Over or under 17 carries for Jordan Mason?
Oh, I mean, look, I told you that it is the #1 run defense, but Kevin O'Connell also knows this, and he can scheme up some opportunities to be smart with the football, especially on early downs. We saw what happened when Carson Wentz tried to throw in between the hashes last week. You know what? 2 times, a pick by the same person. They don't want that to happen again. So smart run schemes, a lot of attempts. That will be the formula. You may not see this kind of yards after contact or yards before contact for that matter, but ultimately I think the commitment to the run game will still be there. It didn't say yards, it says attempts.
Yes, attempts. And being committed to the run game is what I also think of the Cleveland Browns in this one, more or less than 74 yards for Quinshon Judkins. Yeah, you put the ball in the rookie's hands to keep the ball out of the hands of the other rookie who's making his first career start against Brian Flores' defense in a different country, by the way.
First guy ever.
Yeah, so go ahead and load up Quinshon Judkins with carries and opportunities, and I think 74.5 rush yards is something you can feel confident about. But let's go back to the other side, because Jordan Addison had over 100 yards in his season debut. Will he go over 41 this week?
What? What's that number you just asked
41.
me? What? I don't know if this doesn't really need much context. Jordan Addison. Yards. 41.
41.
Yeah, he's going to go over 41 yards. In fact, I think that the opportunity here is to take advantage of, they've had some injuries to that secondary. It's not like they've had a full slate of extremely healthy cornerback. Wait, what are we talking about here? Man coverage. Yeah, they're okay. They're okay.
Yeah,
they're catch some passes.
As far as receiving tandems, and yes, this is.
I was going to say 81.
A very good Browns defense. 81. Yeah, that would be a concern.
That would be a much different. I'd have to think about that one for a second.
41.
Feels a little low.
Yeah, get Carson a couple opportunities, again, on the outside. We'll keep him out of the middle of the field. Last one, Justin Jefferson, 70 yards. Yeah, I'm going to go more, just because it's a requirement at this point. Force feed Justin Jefferson. I've said it a couple of weeks now. The formula's out.
Want to know something funny?
Yeah.
If he has 30 yards, then he becomes the guy with the most international receiving yards. Right now, it's Stevie Johnson, who has about 30 yards more than the 365 that this man already has, and that was all in Canada. So he's got to do it in multiple countries.
Oh my gosh!
Just saying, we're full of facts here. Useless knowledge.
Yards plus miles traveled. It's not even close.
Well, that's a new metric. Patrick, give me Next Gen Stats on the phone right now.
Speaking of this game in London, let's take a look at the remaining international games on the NFL schedule this season. You get a chance to see this one coming up in London on Sunday, and then the Broncos taking on the Jets at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. At Wembley, it will be the Rams and the Jags. Over at Olympic Stadium in Berlin, the Falcons taking on the Colts. And the Commanders and the Finns will wrap it up in Madrid. NFL action in Spain, closing out the international series in 2025.
I love saying Tottenham Hotspur.
Oh, there it is.
It's so fun. It's
my accent is very poor, so I don't want to disrespect the people. It's time for the 2-minute drill presented by the Wells Fargo Active Cash credit card. Let's make some very, very quick picks here. The Lions and the Bengals in the jungle. I've got your Lions smashing them for the score 50-19. How do you feel?
I mean, I like your score better, but I have 31-21, a 10-point win, a little bit more conservative for me. I like that the sum of the running back parts are actually greater than each individual one together. Right? The whole is greater than the sum. If you look at what they're doing, David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs together, each rank like 10th most in forced missed tackles or 10th most in yards after forced missed tackles, but together they rank 3rd and 4th in those metrics respectively. So David Montgomery, welcome back to your fantasy team after, I love the Lions. Hi, Rory. Hi, Rory. Love Rory.
I just want to say that Greg's score of 33-9 is far more disrespectful than 50-19.
I have the most respectful one.
Yes, which is something the Bengals deserve in 2025. The Dolphins and Cardinals. Miami got their first win last Monday, but lost Tyreek Hill. I've got the Panthers winning this one at home, 26-25.
Okay.
With T-Mac putting on a show. Teterola McMillan in press man coverage means Bryce is throwing on the ball 41% of the time, which is good for top 10 in the league at that rate. And with the Finns being in the top 3rd of the league, playing press man out wide, it maybe plays into one of the Panthers' strengths here. And also, the Panthers got to win one more game. If it's not this one at home, I don't know where the win.
I like that reasoning. They've just got to.
It's got to come at some point. The Titans and the Cardinals. Last week after Tennessee lost, Cam Ward was very honest about what farm animal the team reminded him of. Does he get his first win this week?
I'm going to keep it a buck and say, no, it's not going to happen.
I thought you were going to say what Cam said.
He said, let's keep it a buck.
Oh, okay. That's the first part of what he said.
Right. I'm just, quote, ... There's an ellipses there. I'm looking at Marvin Harrison Jr. in this matchup to, again, reach the end zone. I saw something pretty great from this young man. I'm so old now I can say that. But it was a frustrating start to the season. I mean, if you look at Kyler Murray's stats, he's having one of his worst statistical seasons ever. And when you're watching some of these drops and then you find him, working through this, when you have that last name and the type of pressure he's under, I can't factor it into math, but I'm really I get inspired watching him. It's cool to see someone work through something difficult and come out on the other end. So I don't know. I think it's going to be a factor in this one too, especially since with the Titans, you can target them in the pass catching game.
Yeah, it's interesting to see both of these teams kind of try to find out what they want to be offensively. And for the Tennessee Titans, I think a win is coming at some point. And considering the way that Cam Ward and the
you want to flip it?
No, I'm going to stay. You're
going to keep it a buck and keep it.
I'm very comfortable keeping it a buck. Shout out to Cam. Coming up, folks. Have you gone over to the Dart side?
Ooh.
Jackson Dart, the electric Giants rookie quarterback, taking the league by storm with lots of hugs for Brian Daboll. Can he and the G-Men take care of business once again? An encore in Sunday in New Orleans? We'll let you know what we think coming up next on Game Day View.
Back and standing and fires it left, and it's caught. Pickens circles away. 10, 5, Pickens, pylon, Pickens. Touchdown, touchdown, touchdown.
It's time for The Read, presented by Microsoft Copilot. Microsoft Copilot, your AI companion for NFL game day and every day. We asked Microsoft Copilot for the key storylines to watch in Sunday's Cowboys-Jets matchup, the battle between a couple of first-year head coaches, Dallas being in polar opposite ends of the spectrum with their offense and defense, the Jets still looking for that first win, and injury concerns for both teams, rounding out the Copilot Week 5 preview. Let's dive into this game. Dallas coming off a tie versus the Packers. The Jets still looking for the first win for the 5th straight week. Greg Rosenthal.
Wait, tell everyone what our researcher told us about Just Greg Nation.
Yeah, folks in Just Greg Nation, if Greg had stopped picking the Jets, you would be undefeated in Just Greg's this season. Unfortunately, he's been wrong every single week while taking the Jets. So I will take the Cowboys here, 28-26, and I will really not even discuss the defense. I just want to heap praise, Cynthia, on Rain Dakota Prescott. His completion percentage over expected is 8.9 right now. He's playing out of his mind. There were so many situations where it's like, oh, what are the Cowboys going to do? They just kept scoring against the Packers, and it still wasn't even enough. They left with a tie. I think it might be enough going up against the Jets.
Well, we're going to make it another Just Greg.
He's doing it again?
He's doing it again with the Jets by 3 points there. Yeah, no, I'm not doing it. I'm going to take the Cowboys 26-24, even with 2 of their offensive linemen. Even with 2 of their offensive linemen not even playing. I want to talk about Jake Ferguson for a second because we don't give him enough love.
No.
You know? The guy's just out here doing things that are high volume, high reception, like the most among tight ends, the second most in the league, 34. I mean, he's doing things that are making up for the fact, not completely, you can never make up for not having CeeDee Lamb, but really helping the team out in a time when the pass catching situation has been depleted due to injuries. You know who's just getting those going out there, taking those hard hits?
It's Jake.
Yeah, and I feel like people are like, oh, George Pickens, because he does say funny things about not knowing ties existed, for example. But ultimately, Jake Ferguson is helping them get from first down to another first down without having to wait another whole possession. So, I think Dak, who leads the league in passing yards, would also agree he's pretty happy with his tight end.
Yeah, we'll move from the Cowboys over to their division opponent, the Giants. Jackson Dart shocked the world in his debut performance last week.
Formation you hear is for Jackson Dart, who makes his first NFL start. Design run. Up the middle he goes to the 10 to the 5. Touchdown Giants! Jackson Dart on a quarterback draw from 15 yards out in his first start gives the Giants the lead. Little shovel pass for Theo Johnson, makes the catch into the end zone. Touchdown Giants! And the Giants have won for the first time this year in Jackson Dart's first ever start.
Hey, big move, 3, 1, 2, 3, big move.
He already had handshakes prepared. Dart and the G-men going to New Orleans. Greg is taking the Giants in this one, but I will roll with the Saints 23-21 because while the Giants consistently dominated up front against the banged-up Chargers unit, when players got free in the secondary, they did what players have done against the Giants since last year. Get big plays. It was a consistent thing for the Giants, and I think there's an opportunity for Spencer Rattler and the Saints at home. And not just Rattler, Jawan Johnson, but especially Rashid Shaheed. Like, looking back at that Omarion Hampton long run, the Quentin Johnston play, there's so many plays throughout this season where the Giants secondary has been watching somebody run and chasing them from behind. And I think the Saints may be able to get those big plays and get a big win at home.
Yeah, Drew Phillips is confusing. Sometimes he's good, sometimes it's very confusing. Yeah. Anyways, I do have New Orleans, but just by 1 point, 22-21. I do want to give a little love to... Oh, it's a Just Greg again.
Greg loves New York.
He loves
we'll
New York.
Get him an apple when he comes back.
We should definitely do that for him. But I'm looking at what Dexter Lawrence was able to do up front. Now, listen, this one's just a little bit more fun because it doesn't always happen when a big guy does something like this. What is it? Oh, yeah, he intercepted the football. And when asked about that run after and why he didn't end up going to the end zone, he said he was tired. And you know what? I don't blame him. That is a chunky man. That is a chunky play. Wouldn't you say that, Patrick?
Yes. In the soup aisle, there's the option for Dexter Lawrence, and that's a big man. But
big
yeah,
man, chunky play.
Justin Herbert, just a little bit faster than Sexy Dexy. Still to come here. We are at the quarter mark of the regular season, so we're going to dive into some win totals for a few of these most intriguing teams this season. We're looking at you, Eagles. Stick around. You're watching Game Day View. Welcome back. NFL Plus. Keep the NFL in reach. Stream live, local, and primetime games on mobile during the regular and postseason, and NFL Network, including 7 exclusive live games, live game audio, and more. With NFL Plus Premium, get more football with NFL RedZone, game replays, and NFL Pro. Sign up today at plus.nfl.com/network. Terms and conditions apply. Here are the highest win totals. According to our friends at Caesars Sportsbook, the Buffalo Bills leading the way, a game ahead of the Eagles who are a game ahead of the Lions and Rams. The Packers 1 game behind them. The Chiefs and the Chargers, 49ers and Buccaneers all sitting there at 10.5. And with us at this point, about a quarter of what, the number of games, we're getting to the decimals there, so there's no clear quarter point through the regular season, but we're about there. So let's talk some win totals. We'll get the fingers out. We'll start with the undefeated Bills, Cynthia. They are 4-0. They end up with more or less than that 13.5 number. That's a lot of wins.
That's a lot of wins. I went through their schedule. I double-checked it. I'm usually a very conservative modeler. And it's very hard for me to not have them with more than 13.5 wins, barring, of course, something unforeseen. But other than that, as they are right now, even with their defense the way it is, it ends up at like 13.7, which is more than 13.5.
Yeah, it's more. It's more, and that's all.
More is more,
One, any more, any little bit is more. An infinitesimal number. Flipping over to the only other 4-0 team, the Eagles, over or under 12.5 wins with the team in disarray. Yeah, disarray of 4-0. Even though the conversation about them will feel like they're falling apart, I've got the Eagles hitting that number and going north of it. They've got the Giants twice and the Bears and the Raiders remaining on the schedule. They split with the Commanders. They beat the Cowboys. That pretty much almost gets them there. So, yeah, I've got the Eagles surviving their horrible 4-0 start to get north of 12.5 wins.
I'm going to be honest. I think this is the way Eagles fans like it.
Yeah.
They like being a little unhappy.
Yeah.
I have a lot of Eagles fan friends, and I love them very much, but they would be lost without complaining about something about the Eagles.
They want to be like
Just
that
saying.
Coach that has a big win, but something goes wrong so they can get after their team. The Steelers are on a bye, so they can't lose this week. They're on top of the AFC North at 3-1, more or less than 8.5 wins.
I'm not going to be fans. I'm not going to be. Look, I'm just doing it based on math, and it comes up as 8.4. There are some asterisks for some question marks here, not the least of which include injuries to their defense. Yes, they won a game that I didn't expect them to against the Vikings in terms of how the model works out. But remember, every remaining game isn't necessarily a 50-50 split. So when I'm looking at the opportunities here, perhaps a few more deep passes would shift that to 8.7 wins, 8.8, but we haven't seen it yet, so right now it's 8.4.
Shockingly, the Houston Texans took until week 4 to get their first win of the season last week. They're over under 6.5 wins, and I actually have them going under here, as the Titans are the only reprieve in the division at the moment for the Houston Texans. The rest of the schedule includes games in Seattle, Los Angeles, and KC. I think they get to 6, but Cynthia, that half
the little hook
begins to be a problem, and I start to worry there. In a rough season for the Houston Texans thus far. I think it continues.
Sometimes you maybe need an O-line that works.
Yeah.
Saying. Maybe invest in your O-line.
Laramie Tunsil's having a lot of success in our nation's capital. Time for quick picks here on Game Day View. Speaking of the Texans, they got the Ravens on Sunday. Lamar Jackson probably out with a hamstring.
You get to throw these now. Hold on.
Will
throw it.
Cooper Rush save the season? Well, at least save this week.
Cooper Rush is a winner, man. Look it up. Baltimore wins 23-21. I like Cooper Rush, but I want to talk about Derrick Henry because he's really the catalyst for this. There are so many pieces of this Ravens offense that are banged up. But one thing I can tell you about Derrick Henry, outside runs especially, because that is a very vulnerable point of this Texans defense. This is going to be where that big, you always, in my head, I close my eyes and think of Derrick Henry just like his perfect posture, running really, really fast into the end zone along the, just along, not in the middle like we're seeing, but over on the edge. That is what he does. And that is where the Texans are vulnerable. So as banged up as they are, the Ravens can still figure this one out per my math. 2 points.
Yeah, just to ultimately keep it very simple, because with Lamar, obviously they're one of the more explosive offenses in the NFL, but they sometimes try to do a little too much, and the offensive line can get lost, especially Falele over there at guard.
We have to do the thing. Ready? Yes, Greg.
Greg has taken the Houston Texans here, but we are both taking the Baltimore Ravens. The Raiders and the Colts, both squads with devastating losses in week 4, but I think the Colts bounce back here and win it 24-19, and their rookie phenom gets an opportunity to be displayed once again, because Tyler Warren leads all tight ends in the entire NFL in receiving yards, and not just that, his 263 yards, the most in NFL history for a tight end through 4 games. Like Brock Bowers, maybe watch out. It might happen again the year after you did it.
After waiting like 25 years to do it the first time. I mean, I'm with you completely. Also, like, somewhat strange that Xavier Howard just retired on Wednesday of this week. So perhaps a Trey Tucker fund. If you are looking for an injury replacement in fantasy football, perhaps you could suggest that, because there aren't a lot of options here with only 14 games. And if you somehow miss Thursday or the early game, maybe Trey Tucker touchdown. Trying to be positive here for Raiders fans. Drew?
Yeah, because the significant fall off between Trey Tucker's Week 3 fantasy performance and Week 4 was significant. Maybe it's like a trend. Up, down, back up this week. When we come back here, it's time to get your pen and paper. Write This Down is on the way. Cynthia and I went 4-0 last week. Your favorite props for Week 5. We are on fire. Boom shakalaka. Shout out to NBA Jam for those who remember it. More Game Day View is coming up next. Snooze off, game on. Sunday Morning Football continues in London, presented by NetApp. Justin Jefferson and the Vikings versus Myles Garrett and the Browns. Sunday, 9:30 a.m. Eastern, only on NFL Network. Also streaming with NFL Plus. Subscription required for NFL Plus. Visit plus.nfl.com for terms. It's time for Write This Down, as I am getting my pen and paper ready because we have player predictions and props for Week 5. We were flawless last week, Cynthia.
Oh, no pressure for us this week.
So why don't you start us off here?
Please write down the name David Montgomery to score a touchdown. The Lions are playing the Bengals. He is from the Cincinnati area. I believe this is his first time playing in Cincinnati. This will be a special one for him. His sister, Kiki, was unfortunately paralyzed in an accident, I believe, earlier, maybe February of this year, and he will be playing for her in this matchup. As if this man needs to be any more motivated. You see it the way he runs. You see it in his work ethic, but I think that will be a very special effort for him, and I believe that this is the kind of Lions team that will find a special touchdown for him so he can do whatever their sign is. We'll know what it is. Right?
Yes,
some fun dance or whatever it is.
If we had to have a team that will rally around somebody in that circumstance, it's definitely
100%.
This edition of the Detroit Lions, who look a lot better as the season has gone on with Morton calling the plays. And I'm confident. In fact, I've never been more confident that a team is going to score 50 points. I have got you to write this down. The Lions minus 10.5. They will clear that because, again, they are going to score 50 points against this Cincinnati Bengals defense. They've come close, not necessarily trying in previous weeks. And we've seen Amon-Ra St. Brown. They scored. Jared Goff threw Amon-Ra a touchdown. They already had 36 points, and they both jumped into the stands. It was 45 points. They're in the stands celebrating. They won't do that because they're in Cincinnati, but I think they'll have plenty of touchdowns to score, Cynthia.
I mean, they seem to be having a lot of fun, so
Yeah.
I'm into it. I'm into it. All right, my next one, write down, this one's a little bit more risky, but Ashton Genty to score a touchdown. He had 3 last week. I'm not projecting 3. I'm just saying once here. Why? Because I think that they figured out his stance. When you look at how he lined up, his actual physical body stance in college, they tried to change it. It was not working. Do you know what they did? They changed it back.
Change it back.
Do the thing that makes you work. You know, make sure that it ends up doing something that works for. God forbid, we have our boss do something that enhances what we are already so good at. So I believe this will end up in pay dirt dividends this weekend.
Yeah, good on Pete Carroll for going over to his running back and offensive coordinator
and saying, you know what, if you don't like doing it that way, don't.
If it ain't broke, don't try to fix it. I am taking an opportunity to take advantage of the Giants defense, giving up big plays and looking at the guy who makes big plays for the New Orleans Saints. I think Rashid Shaheed will have over 39 receiving yards against the Giants. And if I had to take a pick, I would say it might happen on one play, one of the more explosive players in the NFL, and we haven't seen him celebrating in the end zone in quite some time. So, yeah, I'll also say he's due. And I noticed I wrote down 2 running backs here. So, Cynthia going with the running back position.
I'm going with the running back theme.
We'll be running our show back with Greg Rosenthal in studio next week. For Cynthia Freeland, I'm Patrick Claybon. Thanks for watching Game Day View. See you next week.